Imagine the very first thing you do when you open your eyes in the morning. For billions of people around the world, it is a ritual that feels almost religious. You stumble to the kitchen, still half asleep. You smell that rich, roasted aroma. You pour a steaming mug of black liquid, and you take that first sip on an empty stomach. You believe this is the fuel you need to wake up, to function, to be productive. You tell yourself, I can't start my day without it. But what if I told you that for your brain and your nervous system, this beloved ritual is acting like a Trojan horse? What if that immediate jolt of caffeine, hitting a completely empty stomach, is not waking you up, but actually triggering a chemical cascade that mimics a panic attack? Picture a patient sitting in my office. Let's call her Sarah. She comes in complaining of chronic anxiety, heart palpitations at 10 a.m., and a strange sense of doom that settles over her before lunch. She thinks she has a generalized anxiety disorder. But when we look at her morning routine, we find the culprit isn't her job, her family, or her genetics. The culprit is the timing of her cup of coffee. In this video, I am issuing a neurological alert about the empty stomach error. I will explain exactly why drinking coffee immediately upon waking is hijacking your stress hormones, and I will give you a simple protocol to enjoy your caffeine without sacrificing your mental peace. To understand why this habit is so damaging, we have to look at the neurobiology of waking up. Waking up is not just opening your eyes, it is a massive chemical event. The moment light hits your eyelids, your brain signals your adrenal glands to release a surge of cortisol. This is known as the Cortisol Awakening Response, or CAR. Think of cortisol as your body's natural alarm system. It naturally rises to its peak about 30 to 45 minutes after you wake up to make you alert, mobilize energy, and get you moving. This is a natural, healthy stress response designed to start your day. Now, imagine taking a powerful stimulant like caffeine, which also spikes cortisol, and throwing it on top of this natural peak. You are essentially pouring gasoline on a fire that is already burning. When you drink coffee during this peak cortisol window, you are doubling down on the stress signal. You push your cortisol levels from alert to fight or flight. This overdose of stimulation causes your heart rate to spike, your hands to tremble, and your brain to enter a state of hypervigilance. You aren't just awake, you are agitated. You interpret this physical agitation as psychological anxiety. You feel on edge, irritable, and overwhelmed. Not because life is overwhelming, but because you have chemically induced a state of panic in your own nervous system. But the damage of the empty stomach error goes beyond just cortisol. We must talk about the gut-brain axis. Your stomach and your brain are connected by a superhighway of information called the vagus nerve. What happens in your gut directly influences your mood. Coffee is acidic, and it stimulates the production of gastrin and hydrochloric acid. When you put this acid into a stomach that has been fasting for 8 to 10 hours, and contains no food to buffer it, you irritate the stomach lining. This mucosal irritation sends distress signals up the vagus nerve directly to the brainstem. Your brain interprets this gut distress as a threat. It says something is wrong. This visceral signal can manifest as a vague sense of unease, nausea, or anxiety. Furthermore, this acid spike can damage the lining of the gut over time, leading to inflammation. We know that systemic inflammation suppresses the production of serotonin, the happiness hormone, 90% of which is produced in the gut. So by burning your stomach lining every morning with acidic coffee on an empty stomach, you are literally eroding your biological capacity to feel calm and happy. There is a third neurological trap here, related to a molecule called adenosine. Adenosine is a chemical that builds up in your brain throughout the day to make you feel tired. Sleep clears it away. However, when you wake up, you might still have some residual adenosine, commonly known as sleep inertia. Caffeine works by blocking adenosine receptors. It doesn't give you energy, it just hides the fatigue. If you block these receptors immediately upon waking, before your body has had a chance to naturally clear out the cobwebs, you interrupt the natural wake-up process. The caffeine wears off a few hours later, the famous afternoon crash. and all that accumulated adenosine hits you like a truck. This crash leads to brain fog and irritability, prompting you to reach for another cup, creating a cycle of dependency and chemical instability that leaves your nervous system frayed and exhausted by the end of the day. So, does this mean you have to give up your beloved coffee? Absolutely not. I love coffee, and it is full of antioxidants. The solution is not elimination, it is timing and sequencing. I call this the 90-minute buffer protocol. It changes coffee from a source of stress into a tool for performance. Here is how you do it. Step 1. Rehydrate first. Your brain shrinks slightly during the night due to dehydration. Before any stimulant touches your lips, drink a large glass of water with a pinch of sea salt and lemon. This hydrates the brain and prepares the stomach. Step 2. Anchor the gut. Never let caffeine be the first thing that hits your stomach lining. Eat something first. Ideally, something with protein or healthy fat, like a handful of nuts, a hard-boiled egg, or even a spoon of almond butter. This food acts as a physical buffer, neutralizing the acid and preventing the distress signal to the vagus nerve. Step 3. The 90-minute rule. This is the game changer. Wait 90 minutes after waking up before you have your first cup. By waiting 90 minutes, you allow your natural cortisol peak to rise and then begin to fall. You are riding the wave, not crashing into it. You are also allowing your body to naturally clear out the sleep inertia. When you introduce caffeine at the 90-minute mark, you are providing a gentle lift as your natural energy starts to dip, sustaining your focus without the jitters. In summary, anxiety is not always a disorder of the mind. Sometimes, it is a disorder of your morning routine. Drinking coffee on an empty stomach, right when your stress hormones are naturally highest, is a recipe for jitters, gut distress, and anxiety. It creates a chemical storm that you spend the rest of the day trying to manage. By simply changing the order of operations, hydrate, eat, wait, you can reclaim your calm. You can have your coffee and your sanity too. You are moving from a reactive state, where a chemical is controlling your mood, to a proactive state, where you are using biology to your advantage. Now, I have to give you a medical disclaimer. If you have severe anxiety disorders, gastritis, ulcers, or heart arrhythmia, simply delaying coffee might not be enough. You might need to reduce it or switch to decaf/tea. Always listen to your body and consult your doctor. But for most of you, this simple shift can be life-changing. I want to know, are you a coffee first thing person? Does this explain the jitters you feel mid-morning? I challenge you to try the 90-minute buffer protocol for just 3 days, and tell me how you feel in the comments. If this video helped you understand your body better, please like and subscribe. Share this with your coffee-loving friends who might be struggling with anxiety. Let's start our days with clarity, not chaos.